Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we're diving into one of the biggest moments in Caribbean horse racing, the legendary Barbados Gold Cup. This race isn't just about speed and strategy, it's about passion, preparation, and the people behind the champions. Our guest today is the trainer of this year's winning horse, and this isn't his first time in the winner's circle. He has now captured the Gold Cup twice, cementing his place among the elites in this sport. But what makes this victory even more powerful is the moment before the race when he knelt down beside the track and prayed. It was a quiet, emotional moment that spoke volumes about faith, pressure, and believe in the journey. We'll talk about the preparation behind a Gold Cup champion, the partnership with jockey Jalon Samuel, race day strategy, and what this win means for the future of horse racing in Barbados. This is a story about discipline, teamwork, faith, and the pursuit of greatness. Let's get right into it. Welcome back to this platform, my man, the one and only. They call him Perkins. How you doing, bro?
Thanks, Derek. Thanks for having me on again.
Man, it's always a pleasure talking with you, man. Always cool and collective. Um, Congratulations, man.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. It means the world to the whole team.
How does it feel? How does it feel to be a two-time champion at this Gold
Well,
Cup?
the feeling is good. It's a race that stops the nation. If he was at the Garrison on on Gold Cup Day, it means you have to be staying at home because the Gold Cup have really took back number one spot on the sporting calendar in Barbados. I would say that this is the biggest Gold Cup in my generation.
Oh wow. I mean, like I wasn't there to see like the people who were there and all that stuff, but did it feel huge and humongous for you?
Yeah, it was huge. Even walking to the start, I know I went to the gates, which I usually do. Don't do it as often as before because all the restrictions now. I remember walking to the gates and one of my guys shot, and I said to him, "Whoa, this go cut is huge." There were all these corporate tents and stuff like that all around the racetrack, which is never seen before to that extent.
Yeah, that's wonderful, man. I was actually watching from the TV, and I saw some things that were a little bit different. So for me, I was like, was that always there, or is that new? So to your point, yeah, I guess you guys are doing some really good things down in Barbados.
Yeah, I said to the whole, I remember on the Monday morning, I walked into the office and I said to Mrs. Pierce and Mr. Edwards, I said to them, what a fantastic job. They have sold every inch of the landscape of Garrison. It was totally sold out all the way around. There were huge tents all around. Reminds you of the big days in North America, the big days, especially in Europe, where they have a lot of activities on the infield.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing I would say about the Gold Cup in Barbados is that because Barbados is a little bit smaller and the people are a little bit clustered, it has a really good feeling to it. So I think that brings a lot of joy. It feels like a lot of joy, and it feels like a lot of fun for families, for people who are involved. You know.
Yeah, even people who are not in all the sponsor tents and stuff like that. There were still families picnicking like openly on the center field. There were lots of rides and lots of games. Remind you of back in the day when the Gold Cup was the number one spot, and they have really take back that position in number one sporting event in Barbados.
And I guess you're talking in terms of say the other activities that's in Barbados. I mean, like when you look at like the race in Jamaica now, and people are talking a lot about that now. And I guess it's because that you see a few jockeys from the USA go down there, and the purse has risen to. So I think Barbados probably jump into that competition too and say, look, we need to get back or take back this spotlight.
Yeah, good horses always bring out good people. If you look at the Gold Cup this year, it's probably one of the best set of horses I've ever assembled for the Gold Cup. We have had Gold Cups before where you've had a number of horses, like one or two good horses in the race, but that's why this Gold Cup was so competitive. You can even see from the field, even all the pundits could not like predict a clear winner. If you look at the betting, how tight it was, and then you look at the field, there were stocks of horses with good form shipping in, and even the home base horses was the form was good, have all raced on a good level.
Yeah, I agree. But the one thing I'll tell you though, because you obviously your horse came in first and you guys won, but for some reason your horse didn't catch my attention at that moment. I guess because there were people were talking about other things, other horses, other people, and so forth, right? But definitely you got a good horse there. When you look back at the history, look at the movement and so forth. And when the race was finished, I was like, man, it was only at 8 to 5, 8 to 5. I was like, "Huh,"
Well,
you know,
uh, Jalon would definitely carry a lot of money based on he's a household name when it comes to Gold Cup. So Jalon would definitely carry like the non racing people who checks the form and stuff like that. They would bet on Jalon because Jalon is known as Mr. Gold Cup here in Barbados, and so he would definitely carry that extra bit of money. But where is the race is concerned of the actual ardent race fans of what we call the punters. They basically had everyone like a few 4 or 5 horses on the same level, and then that extra factor that actually pushed him into favorite was the not the ardent punters, the everyday punters, the once a year punters Gold Cup people who just want to have a bet at the Gold Cup. Most of those people will go for Jalan.
yeah, I agree, man. Like I shared this story so many times before, and it took me by surprise because it was 2 years ago when I came back to Barbados for the first time to watch a Gold Cup. I've been there, many times, but not to watch a Gold Cup in so many years. And the one thing that struck me was the amount of people who really take to Jalan Samuel as a jockey. If there's one jockey they all talk about, and that's him. People, old people, young people, that's the one that they know. So how big has he become now in Barbados as a writer?
Well, Jalan is huge, he just he's everyone knows him as Mr. Gold Cup. Like, if you get the fans who only follow the race, only follow racing once a year, it's Gold Cup time, and they're all, oh, I'm betting whoever Jalon is riding, especially all the females. They're not into reading names or they're not into checking form or anything like that. They just know with Jalon. So Jalon would definitely carry a lot of money on any horse that he rides.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. And let's talk about a little bit about your partnership with him, I guess, because the two times that you won the cup is the two times that he wrote it for you. Y-
Yeah,
like where did that
it's a bit of
relationship develop? How did that
it's
come
a
about?
it's a bit of a funny strike rate we have because Geelong have only ever ridden two winners for me out of. You haven't ridden that much for me horses, probably 15 horses or something like that. But you've only ever ridden two winners, and it's the most two important winners of my career. You've ridden two Gold Cup winners.
Wow. Yeah, because I was starting to believe that because I don't follow the Barbados
But you've ridden
racing.
three. You've won three races for me. Sorry, you won on Boxing Day for me as well. So that's
Oh,
three.
okay.
You've ridden three winners for me. Yeah.
But those two races, I was like, man, those two times, Jalan came and he rode for Remel, and I was like, man, where did that relationship start? Was that always there? You're telling me no, that wasn't like a
Well,
thing.
well, this it goes back even before I had a trainer's license. I was the racing manager for the current stable I trained for, Peter Odell. And Geelong was only a 7 pound apprentice. We had this really good horse, and the horse becomes available. And Amanyara. And I saw the talent in Geelong as he was ready for Safi at the time, who's Baba, who's at Gulf Street. And I really backed him to get the right. I put forward his name. He was my choice as a pick. I mean, like I could have only offered my opinion, and Mr. Odell went with my opinion, and he gave Jelani the right. So our relationship started up from then. He was only a 7 pound apprentice at the time, and the horse won the Guineas.
Wow.
Was his first states, right?
You know, I always say that horse racing has some wonderful stories, and to hear these type of stories always to me is always warm and welcoming. Just to hear these stories, because to be honest, like when you think about behind the scenes, behind the horse, the jockey, the trainer. I mean, like for you, when you think back now, like 10, 15 years now, like ago, did you see yourself being in this position? I mean, to be
Well,
honest, like if you come back next year, Remel, and you win again, that'll be three times. That's a lot.
yeah. Well, first and foremost, I want to thank God, for blessing me with this fantastic talent and putting me in a position that I can deliver. Giving me strength and fantastic team, a really good, great group of owners. To trust me with these animals, and the team to work behind me and back me with it. And we work together like anything else. We have our ups and downs, but we try to keep more ups and downs and iron out our downs. Um, Small kid from the Bayland. We were always, me and a group of guys, we were always the guys who would always run around the racetrack, hold a horse for someone. And, you know, it's our dream. It was all to be jockeys first. I didn't make it in the jockey department because I like the food too much. But I went on to be a lightweight, a groom, stable manager, and then here I'm a trainer. It's even though it's you're as good as your last winner. You have to keep working towards it. You can't rest on your morals and say, "Well, I've now won a couple of Gold Cups, so this is it." I my goal is to be number one. And be number one for a very long time. I work nonstop. I work towards it very hard. I'm not going to rest on my morals to say, "Well, no, I've won a Gold Cup." I've done it all, so I don't need to do it. I'm still in the barn for early in the morning, last thing on the evening. You know,
That's that. I mean, that's a good work ethic, and living in Barbados, you I guess when you come out from Barbados and you come out from, you say you're just a boy from Bayland, and you got big dreams in a small island. Um, that's the best thing I've always felt like being, in an environment like that, because when you come from humble beginnings, it can only make you rise and make you want more and want you see more. You know what I mean? Is that? I guess
yeah,
that's the same. That's your thought, I guess, right?
yeah. It's like it's all happening what I've all prayed for. I get on my knees and I pray daily. The guys can tell you I'm always praying. And you also just not pray, but you have to put in work. It's a prayer and no work is you have to believe as well. Also put in the work because it makes no sense praying and you're still in your bed. You have to come out and execute as well too.
Well,
Put the plan into works.
I wondered about that. The praying. I saw the photo of you down on your knees beside the track before the race, and I had to ask. I have to ask the question: was that stage, or was that just you just getting down there and someone just took
Definitely
that
not.
picture?
I'm definitely not. Just this time someone caught me on camera, but I'm usually a praying guy. I always pray. I believe in prayer. Derek, I have so much to be thankful for. If you know my real story, where I'm coming from, very very humble beginnings. I worked my way up. I was a lightweight, and then I become a groom. Then went on then to be a stable manager. Here I'm being a trainer. So and I keep putting in the work. And my team have gone from strength to strength. Where we started out with a one horse, two horses, we get them to win, and then we move on up and we start to get a lot better horses. Now we have horses in the better, higher classes. Here we are. We the last couple of years. We won the Derby in 2024. We were second last year in 2025. So we won the Gold Cup 2023. We won the Derby in 2024, second in 2025, and now we win the Gold Cup in 2026. So the team is going from strength to strength, but that doesn't mean you can rest on your morals. You pray harder, you work harder.
Man, I've had the honor and the opportunity to meet you a couple of times in Barbados, and and it was always pleasant. It seems like fun. I know it has to be stressful at some point. Sometimes when you're running races, you have to win. You got to hit your percentages. So that must be pretty tough. But in an environment like Barbados, is it fun or for you, or is it mostly stress?
Well, I always try to put a bit of humor in something. I'm a natural outgoing person. There's still certain instances where you have to stand up for yourself, just like any other racetrack. And even Barbados is a small population, so it means the owner pool is smaller. So it means that you have to stand up for yourself and make sure that you have a fair share of the pie. And but it's not going to stop me. I just keep working, keep chipping away at it. Keep motivating my team, and always finding new ways just to keep them motivated, keep the horses happy because you really need to keep your team motivated. Your animals feed off of your team. So if your team is not happy, the animals is down as well to keep the owners coming, and you really need to have. We have a good group of owners who replenish in this stock. That's very important. Owners like winners.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about the owner because I've been looking at the owner. I mean, the first Gold Cup you won was with Mark Goodridge, and now the second one with Peter Odell. Peter Odell. I look at his portfolio, his resume. What a person who is well known around the island. I would say he has a big stash underneath him in terms of what you call years of doing business and being successful.
Yeah.
What is it like to work with
Um,
him?
it's been really good to get the main race in the country, especially for someone like Mr. Odo, who contributes so much to racing. He's definitely the biggest breeder in Barbados at the moment. I know he's my principal owner, and it's really good to get the big one for him. We got back public sector in November, and this Gold Cup is obviously the target. We ran him in on the Boxing Day, which is like 5 weeks later. Then we took the decision not to run him back in the Coolmore. And there was a lot of chatter around the racetrack about if we're going to bring this horse from December, run him in March, if we'll give him the prep run, something must be wrong with him. But we took a decision as the owners and myself going forward. Safi's also involved in this horse. Um, as the owner going forward, we make a decision that we basically not going to run him in the Coolmore and we'll train him straight to the Gold Cup. So we took a chance and it worked out. God is great.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Safi, I mean all the things that he's doing, down in Florida, he's really turning heads. What's your thoughts on a trainer like him coming out of Barbados and just kind of shaking up over there in the USA? Is that something that you would have on your, thinking maybe someday?
Well, it's fantastic to let the guys know that guys from the small islands also can train horses and train them at the highest level. What Safi have just done is to open the door for other people to just other guys for the islands, not only Barbados but the rest of the islands to let them know that we definitely can train horses at the higher level at the highest level as well. And now he's bringing along young Micah husbands with him as well. So that should open the door for more horsemen in general.
And just speaking of Micah, I know he's never rode in Barbados, right?
No, he never ridden in Barbados. No.
I mean, by the time that he gets ready, that he's completely established, and someone decides, hey, look, we want to see Micah down there. How big of a deal would that be? I mean, right now, he's scratching the surfaces, but at some point,
It,
it might,
it would be
make
huge.
some. It will
Bajans,
be
Bajans
huge.
is really looking forward to seeing it. He just won that $500,000 stakes for Safi. Bajans is really, really looking forward to seeing him. And he has that household name. The husband's name is very associated with horse racing. So Bajans is really looking forward to seeing that generation of husbands.
I agree. I think that there's something about some stars and some athletes. There's something that catches the eyes of people. Maybe it's sometimes a bit of arrogance. Sometimes they're just good. Sometimes it's the winning percentages. Whatever it is, sometimes it's just something about them. I think Micah, he definitely has it.
Yeah, definitely. And he carries all the charisma and the mouth to go with it as well too. Some people say I'm very mouthy as well too. So,
Well,
but it's sometimes just a case of we having to speak up for ourselves. Because the more you win, the more you become in the spotlight. And it means that the cameras is always on you. So it seems like you're talking a bit more than someone who's in the background, but eventually you're probably speaking the same, but just the cameras is not on the other person.
Yeah, I agree. Has that happened to you where you've had to defend yourself, against the public, Joe Public out there who's always ready to bring you down when you start to rise? So, were there any incidents that you had to kind of like, take your stance?
Yeah, there will always be people. No matter how good you do, there will always be naysayers. And at the beginning of 2026, I have take a motto, a slogan we have taken. We're not getting into all the banter, all the chatter. Our slogan is we defeat our enemies with success, and that's the position we have taken going forward. Even Go Kart, we have stayed away from all the controversy and all the mix-up conversations, and I've kept my team, away from the spotlight.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing to do. For me, watching from a distance, it definitely. I like the way how you guys won that. You had a good horse, and maybe not so much in Barbados, but because obviously the odds were showing that definitely your horse was a horse that could win. But for me, from here,
Yeah,
I wasn't even thinking about your horse at the time. I was thinking about other horses because there was so much talk about, the jockeys and all kinds of
yeah.
stuff happening around that time. So it kind of slipped on, and I even forgot about Jalon at the time. I was like, man,
Because it was this year was one of those years where the competition was very, very stiff. So that can easily happen. And another year you would say, well, look, there's only two horses with outstanding chances with that is coming forward with the form that public sector have. That you can say, well, there's only two horses, but when you look down the field was deep this year. You had horses in the race that another year they would definitely be in the top four, but it wasn't in the top four this year because it was a deep, deep field this year. The farm. When you look at the caliber of horses that was in the race, it's really good allowance stakes horses that their last few starts have run the stakes company. So it's very, very, very Gold Cup as a field wise, and the race showed it. You look at the distances that it was between the first eight horses or something. The distances were very close.
and it was a hell of a race, man. It was one of the
Yeah,
best races I've seen in a very long time. I'm happy that for you that you actually won that one because it
thank
was
you.
a race that fans, people can talk about down the line because it was that good. I don't know if
Yeah,
you realize, but the race was really
it
good.
was
It was
tight.
a good
It
race.
was tight. Well, I didn't see the race until after it to see the replay because I went to the gates and you could not see around the racetrack. My boy Shot went to the start with me, and Shot was like, with 3 furlongs to go, I said, boy, this horse ain't moving. And Shot was like, don't give up faith yet, Remel. He's coming. Jalon is still easy. And then after the race, I said, Shot, you take me place? And he said, boy, I don't know it. All the horses bunched up. And then when the course out there, and the Shot was like, boy, we win. Jalon is celebrating. I sure you sure you win. So I asked a few other people, and someone said, if Jalon rode your horse, you're the winner. So I I just give thanks. I always, no matter what race I win, I give thanks. And then obviously I try to get back, start to celebrate then with the rest of the guys.
Oh, what a wonderful feeling, man. What a wonderful feeling. I mean, to be honest, what it was a really good story. Like you can't write that story any better than that. Here, Jalon leaves Barbados, and he goes to Canada. He stays over there for a while. Then he comes back. After the last time he came back and rode, he won the Gold Cup. And then he was away for a couple years or a few years.
Yeah,
Now he comes
with the
back
rest
and
of
he
2
wins it
years. Yeah.
again. So
Let's hope
and
he can
even
take that
with
form now
you
with the
being the
grace of
trainer.
God. Let's hope with the grace of God he can carry that form now to Canada. Jalan is a really good rider and he's settling down now. He's into his new home. He's been in Toronto for a couple of years now. So let's hope he can really go to the next level.
In your opinion, is he the greatest jockey to ride the Gold Cup?
Well, he have won the most Gold Cups, and I think Jalan have put his stamp all over the Gold Cup race. And I think he's number one rider by wins. He's almost double anyone else that have won the Gold Cup. You have John O. Jones, Patrick, the late Venice. Those guys have won the Gold Cup. Rashid is 2 wins, but Rashid have youth on his side. So maybe Rashid will be the next person to break all Jalan records.
That's a tough task to do, though. I mean, seven is a lot, and that's a tough task. And Jelon is still relatively young,
Yeah,
so
both. So it only shows you what the future for Barbados holds, and as in terms of horse people, we have some really good riders coming through, and we still have Jalon at 32. Rashid is about 28, 27, 28. Well, late 20s to be exact, and so we still have like the guys at the Kimari Blackets. We still have the young guys. You got the Kadeem Mohammed. You got really young guys that still coming through. So the future is very very bright.
yeah, for sure. But one thing that I'm seeing is that the jockeys are getting some tremendous opportunities to ride
Yeah,
abroad, to make some more money. So that'll help improve their skills as well. It'll help sharpen their portfolio so that others and people would know their names. They do more media stuff, and they'll get more attention. And it's good, wonderful for Barbados. I think, like you know, watching from here, what you were doing, Jalon, Rashid, Safi, and even him, Rocco, like it can only
yeah.
do good for the
To only
sport in
open the
Barbados.
door. And trust me, there's so much talent here that we have here that have not even stepped on a plane as yet. We still have the guy Aaron Daniel. He's still only young. 3 pound claim about Aaron is only early 20s as well. And he still have not stepped on a plane like outside of the region to really go North America or something like that. Right. So we have exporting jockeys and we still have more talent here that is still here. Like, I told the guys we're the producers of the talent.
I asked someone one time, like, where does all these smaller guys come from in Barbados to ride horses and be able to do it so good? People say they don't know. It just happens, I guess. But I don't know.
You
I
look
don't
at the
know.
guys we're producing. Someone asked me today, maybe yesterday, um, when all the writers leave by the end of April, what's going to happen? And I said, more writers will come through every year. You see about 10 new faces at the track, and so far they've already started to come out the woodwork already. And every year we get a new apprentice come through when the season guys go back. Then you get new apprentices continuously come through the ranks, because they get more opportunities when the guys go to North America. So every year, you're producing more and more riders all the time, and it's good. You know, the replacement. We have grooms going off to work, and younger guys is coming into the racetrack to replenish, the working stock. So it's very good.
I wanna touch on something, and just for statistics, because obviously I don't follow deeply in Barbados. I only jump in when there's like the big moments, the big races, and so forth, and I get to watch it and enjoy it. Um, Patrick Husbands, has he ever ridden for you?
On a race day, no, but on the morning, he works plenty horses for me.
Because I'm just trying to see the relationships, because I know, like, I often try to figure out a few things like not in Barbados, like the horse racing, which is all about the relationships. So I'm like, man, has he ever ridden for Remel? I
Not
don't
a
know.
race day, but on the morning, I put Patrick on plenty horses on the morning. I never gonna let that knowledge go away without quizzing it. I'm one of them guys who always think there's something I missed out on something, so I I ask everybody. I have a motto in my stable. Don't matter how insignificant you think something is, and you see it, you bring it to my attention. Even the lightweights, the little lightweights who's walking the horse, help holding the horse. I if you see something, say something. So I'm not ever gonna let that knowledge that Patrick have just like stay there. I'm always there quizzing him, having a little banter with him, but I put him on horses on the morning, so I can get that knowledge.
Patrick is one of the guys who can capture moments very easily. He just have that kind of personality about him. And I want to ask you, you're a local, you're a trainer, you're the two-time winning Gold Cup trainer right now. But did you think that him not riding in the Gold Cup this year um, was probably a bad move on on his behalf?
Well, I don't really only Patrick and Safi and the connections know what really took place. I just stayed far, as I said previously. I stayed far, keep my team far away from controversy because I just really need to motivate my team and keep them out the spotlight and we shine on the big day because your animal is spit an image of you. So we just try to stay, even to the fact of we did not even watch any any of the shippers coming to exercise before Wednesday because we did our final piece of work on Wednesday and then we just looked at those horses after, but we just stayed away. We come down early, worked our horse, and then we went back to our stables and just stayed to the spotlight. And just, because we stayed positive this year, stay away from controversy and any mix up.
Would you call that growth from your part, and or you call that more of experience now since you're
Well,
doing this
it's
year?
it's a bit of both, it's a bit of both an experience, Previously, I know how it is, and you can easily get distracted going to a race of this level, and you have to rally your troops. You can easily be distracted because the racetrack is buzzing more than anything else during Go Kart week. And if you don't stay focused, you can easily be distracted. Every time you look around, someone is there to get your opinion on something, or so you have to really, really stay focused. We did our work and we retreated back to our base, and come out. We had a good go kart day as well. We won three straight races on go kart day, which was good.
Yeah, I did see that. What a good day. What was the celebration like after the race? After the race day, actually, how did you celebrate?
Well, we just went back to the bar and we had some food and some drinks. We stayed quite small hours in the morning, and it was good. We started all over on Sunday morning again. Few guys had a bit of sore head and stuff, but it was good. It's all good for the team because you know, the grace of God, we just was all out. We was having 15-hour days. Some days I was at the track from after 3 in the morning to basically 7, 8 o'clock at night. You know, um, just making sure everything is put in place. And keep everybody motivated and keep everybody happy because when you have such a large team now, it only takes your team is as good as your weakest link. You know.
I wanna ask you something here, and I guess for you as a trainer, because I realized when I went to Barbados that even though, like, there's the gambling part of the horse racing, and the money involved and stuff like that, there's still a lot of people who look at horse racing as sport, and the winning matters to them. So from a local guy like yourself, who's you got a local champion, which is Jalon Samuel on your horse. You got Peter Odell, local businessman who's there too as well, and then you got the other connections who's decided to bring um, a jockey from outside, and the superstars like Patrick, and you know, and to win. Does it do anything for you, or you just say, just another race that you
No,
won?
it's huge there. Gold Cup, the Gold Cup is one of those races why we get out of bed early, to be when all the cameras and all the lights is on, and to compete against Safi and Edward and William Clark and Charles Williams or the other guy, Nicholas Thomason come in. It adds a huge extra. Every trainer that have a horse in the Gold Cup, once you're there, you have a chance. The buzz is real. Is so you really have to maintain and keep a level head, because and I went into the race with end up being the favorite on the day, but you would know going to the race, he definitely would have been one of the favorites, And then you had Safi showed up with three good chances, with three heavy hitters, So you have to compete against Safi. Safi would have bring that extra media coverage as well too.
That's right.
So to come on top, it's huge.
I think your horse actually came to Woodbine last year too as well. I
Yeah,
think
he
so.
he left Barbados and he ran twice at Woodbine. He been all around. He went to Palmettos and then he shipped from Palmettos. He went to Woodbine and then he went back to Saratoga. He didn't race in Saratoga, but then went back down to Florida and then we shipped him to Barbados. He arrived here in November and we started preparing for Boxing Day. And he won that race on Boxing Day. It was so impressive, and we took decision not to run him back until the Gold Cup, and to bring him off the bench, everyone was saying something is wrong with him. Matter of fact, trainer Shad Brown, I had a call from Shad Brown telling me, because he trained this horse as a trio, he said that's a real Shad Brown special to train a horse off the bench and bring it for a grade one like that, produce, is a real Shad Brown. And, it's special when trainers at them like that is actually watch the race. He didn't watch the replay. Shad told me he watched the race live, in his busy schedule, and he still took time out to watch it.
Oh, that's big. I didn't realize that the attention was there completely for even for Chad Brown, but that's wonderful to hear, and that's a really good story. It's always a good thing to let others know who's watching. So be on your p's and q's. Just be ready because you never know who's watching. You know.
Yeah, when the camera's on and the snap, you can't take it back. It's there.
Yeah, man. That's I gotta ask you this because at this time, I've seen so many stories where trainers now are retiring. I guess some are getting older, and others are jumping out of the sport for different reasons. Is this a good time for new blood to be involved with racing? Or do you think that right now is a little bit tough in racing?
Well, there is never going to get any easier. So I'll say it to anyone who wants to start, go for it. And that's why I always tell the young guys, tell the guys that come around the track, they try to put things in place that they don't want younger guys to come to the gate. I'm not saying to don't manage them, but you have to let them come to the gate and attach them to a trainer, attach them to something, but it cannot be to stop them from coming to the gate altogether. You know, get them in because it's the honest way you can have continuation. Is to get those guys. Suppose I know there was plenty hurdles for me coming in the paddock, you know, and I kicked down every hurdle. Trust me. I got put out, I jump over the gate. Put me out again, I jump over the wall. Put me out again, I come over the fence. Until they just got tired seeing me and said, look, just don't get any trouble, you know. But that was the BLM boys, you know, and that was, you know, my cousin Gigi, Ryan Jones, Stephen Flats, Junior Flats, you know, number of guys, you know, a whole list of us from the BLM, Iowa George, and some of those guys have gone on to Woodbine and they're doing very well. Ryan Jones is a trainer at Woodbine. You know, Stephen Flats, Gigi is back here. Iowa George, he's at Woodbine. So just saying like that Bayland crew, you know, we would jump over. Even the guy who sells the rotis at the gate, Marcus, there's Troy Garnett, what we call him Raccoon. He's working by Kevin Attard. He won the King's Plate last year, you know. And there's only a few names that just call off the top of my head, you know. We will always jump over. We get put out, jump back up, jump over, put out, jump over. You know, if there wasn't something put in place that allows us to be there, what would happen to the next generation of horse people?
That's a good point. Very good point. And you know, one thing that I do know is that the love for the sport is definitely there from the people who are involved with racing in Barbados and the horses. Um, I know the people who are not really involved with horses don't really understand everything that
They
happens with
don't.
horse racing. You know that.
They don't. They don't. They just think they know it from the side, you know. Even the care of the welfare of the horses. Listen, they're bad people in every walks of life. You know, there are bad people who does unscrupulous things in every walks of life. There is a very small percentage of people who you will see do some things that you question the ability to be working in the horse racing industry. But the greater percentage, I mean, really, the higher percentage of people takes good care of the horses. You know, my last time you have a massage. You know, my horses gets massage well by the groom daily, but professional massage 2 3 times a week. Different horses, you know, and those horses get really pampered. You know, they get the temperatures checked. You know, there's a number of things that goes into them. Strict that, you know, and it's really a number of things that go into them. But people from the sidelines just thinking, you know, well, it's horse racing and people ill treat the animals. But very small percentage of people you see do things that you're thinking, well, I wouldn't do that. You know, it's not the best interest of the horse. But generally, people looks after their horses.
It's good to hear. Because you know, definitely there's people, the animal rights people who definitely look for reasons to protest or to mention something, you know. But for a large percentage of other people, they definitely love the sport and love seeing the events surrounding horse racing. So keep up doing the good work and you know, keep winning, man. That's all you can do, really, right? You do good to the horse, and the
Yeah.
horse do good to you.
It's you get out what you put in, you know. Even public sector, his groom is a girl groom, and she just smashed the records of the first female groom to win the Gold Cup. You know, if you see them on the morning, it's a sight to see. You know, it's like they're always having this little tussle between them, you know. But it's all love. You know, she's always having him loving up and kissing up, and he's a full man, you know. He and she's one of the shortest grooms around the racetrack, but there's total love between them, you know. Carolyn, public sector. You know, to get a hold on him in the morning when he finished trains is a few minutes, you know. Sometimes I even be a bit naughty and just stand back and watch them trains. They having a little banter. And I come up and just assist or the jockey will help put it on. But it's nice to see, you know, it's real love between them, you know. And people who sits on the fence doesn't understand that, you know, until they come through the gates of any racetrack and they realize, whoa, this what goes on. You know, you see horses with the blankets, the magnetic blankets on, they get a massage, they get ice, you know. Almost everybody at the racetrack have a laser now where, you know, they put the laser on them and, you know, just making sure the horse is healthy.
You know, just for the public, I know you. I think you just mentioned her name, but just can you mention her name again, the groom of the horse, so that people.
Carol Feedy.
What was it again?
Carol Feedy.
Carol Feedy. Definitely
Yeah, she's a
good
veteran.
job.
She's a veteran. You know, she was reminding someone the other day of all the big races that she won. So she actually looked after that horse that Jalon won his first states race on Amayara. Carol looked after that, and that was 2010. And before that, she had a very good horse called Talk About Lucky, who placed in a few Gold Cups in 201 and stuff like that. So she's not new to the game,
Yeah,
and she won a
you
few
know.
spa sprints. She won about two or three spa sprints before. So yeah,
Yeah, that's a wonderful story, man. It's always good when people can see their work come to light and be able to achieve the top prize, especially when they put in all that hard work. Because I know that you guys are up early in the morning. You're doing your thing. Sometimes family and people involved don't understand. They're wondering where you going so early in the morning. You know what I mean?
you know, yeah, and,
you
and
know.
like a horse like public sector, he goes to the beach in the morning first and he swims first, and then he comes back and he have a little time off, and then he trains after. And he really wants to train him in the cool. So you imagine he's on the beach between 4 and 4:30, and then he comes back up, have a little relaxation, and then he's back on the track around 6:30. So you see where it goes then, you know. And he loves the water, and he's a big fella, so it also allows us to just take him off of his feet a bit and not have to drill him so much. So you can imagine what goes into a horse like him.
Yeah, man. I don't. What else can I say? It's always good to see people that I've met take the top prize. Really happy that you guys won. Was this Peter Odo's first Gold Cup?
Yes, this is first Gold Cup.
Man, what a
Said to
wonderful
me,
achievement.
he
Uh,
said
uh,
to me in the leading, this is one of my main bucket lists, and I've ticked it off. God is great. And Carol first Gold Cup as well, and you know, she been around for a while. She won all kind of big races, and to win the Gold Cup now, she won the boxing there future, and now she just won the Gold Cup. To add with a whole list of big races she have won before. And also, it's very important. Carol won my first race for me as a trainer. Carol looked after the horse.
oh wow, man!
Yeah,
Full circle, as people would say.
it is. There's a lot of history going on there.
There's a lot to be thankful for, and like you said a few times already. God is definitely great. So
It
you keep
is.
doing what you do, man.
It is there. I have, my story is out this world. I have a lot, very, very lot to be thankful for. From where I'm coming from. As the humble beginnings and helping out around the racetrack, holding the horse for someone here, holding the horse for someone there. And got guys like Foley and Sophie and Archie, who's also a trainer. Chaba Boss State and all those guys. There's my first guys. The guy call him Billy. He works with Mark Cassie. Those guys will give me a horse to hold, Wayne Boy. Just to name a few. There's so many people that has a hand in assisting me along the way. That have helped me out. And um, Mark Goodridge was very instrumental in the early parts of my training career by giving me horses to train. And I have John O'Brien, Bajan John O'Brien, and also there's Trinidad and John O'Brien as well too. Who's being like a godfather to me. He won every major race around, probably every major race around the Caribbean. Placing them. John helped me out tremendously. And give me advice here. I'm always on the phone. I ask trainers everything. I pick up the phone. I speak to so many trainers, even in Barbados. There's Nunez, there's Richard Dean. I ask people. Don't matter which training it is, which lightweight it is. I ask questions because that's the only way you can be better. I pick up the phone. I speak to Safi. There's so many trainers. There's not one trainer in Barbados that I wouldn't answer a question. Don't care if you only train one winner or you train 100 winners. I'm on the phone and I answer questions all the time.
That's the only way you're gonna learn. That's the only way you're gonna be able to get more knowledge, get more information. No question. No, it's silly. It's just asking. You dig and dig until you get the right solution. That's all you can really do. There was you mentioned Safi, and there were I know Safi. You said I think based on what I see with the horse, I think there's some kind of connection there with
Yeah,
him and the horse too as
Safi
well.
still has shares. Safi still has his wife still have shares in public sector, and it's a whole group of people, and well, there I have some fabulous owners at the moment. I got the Cadoggans, I got Miss Harper, I got the Legends of Racing, which is Yellow Star, the change over to Yellow Star Racing. I got Mitchell Samlau from Trinidad. You know, I got Lufa Miller. I got a whole good list of owners. And we're doing well. My principal owner is Melrose Racing, which is Peter Odell is the head of that. And we have a few syndicate horses from Melrose Racing, but it's we have a good group of owners, and you need those owners to continue to replenish horses and to back you, to believe in you that you can deliver, and they keep buying horses because without the owners, you're really not doing anything. You need those owners to keep buying horses and giving the opportunity, that you can produce winners, good horses. If you don't have the ammunition to go to war with, it just makes no sense.
I guess if you put it like that, well, call it war. Some people say competition, but you call it war.
Well, war coming, it's all the same thing, If you go on the battlefield and you don't have the ammunition, then you're just there to participate. You're not there to compete. And a few years, as I said to you, the last interview we did, I said to you that our level of horses is really improving. As the more winners you get, people start to believe in you a bit more, and they start to trust that you can actually train a higher level horse. And they start to give you a few better horses and stuff like that.
There was a funny moment after the race when the commentator was mentioning Safi as a trainer and so forth. It had me really confused because I was like, I think Safi
Yeah.
was involved with the horse last year or something, but I was like, man, I'm pretty sure Remel is the trainer here for this horse. And was that funny to you too, or was it just a little
Well,
bit of blunder?
it's a blender. Lyndon is one of my biggest supporters. Lyndon always backs me, and just got caught up in the heat of the moment. And I spoke to him the day after he rang me, and he very apologetic. And it's a genuine mistake there. People always like to poke holes in the bar, when someone makes a mistake, But I can tell you there's nothing bad about that. Lyndon it was just a general mistake. Like, got caught up in the heat of the moment of the excitement. He's so happy that, I won, and we really good friend of mine, he just got caught up in the heat of the moment.
Yeah. Well, it was a little bit of a chuckle in here, a little bit of funny moment for us who
Yeah,
were watching from a distance. But I'm glad you cleared that up because for us it was like, okay, well, isn't he seeing what is happening? But that's pretty cool. I know that you guys are all connected down there, so I'm pretty
yeah.
sure you would have
It's a
worked it out. And you know,
genuine mistake, especially like all the negativity that was around the previous my first school cup winner, you know, and people are just thinking is this a repeat of that, but definitely not. No, there was nothing fictitious by Lyndon in this thing. It was all just got caught up in the heat at the moment.
pretty cool. What's next for the horse, man? What's happening?
Um, he look, public sector is 8 years old, and we think we're running back sometime in May. Should be some race coming up for him in May. He probably run back there. We wouldn't. We don't want to run him boat too much. If we can run him once every 6 to 8 weeks, fine, and not having to race him like every week. And that's the plan. Well, I'm not one who likes to race my horses every race day. I like to preserve them and have some longevity into them. Some of them will get injured, but I don't want to run them every week. It's just not my style. I like to train a horse. I I think one of my strengths is training a horse to the race. I don't have to necessarily race a horse, to get it to the race. Some of them you would need to race to do a few races build up, but I think I'm quite good at taking a horse off the bench, and train it towards the race.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I just wonder, as you were talking there, I was wondering how has things changed for you since winning this second Gold Cup, and is the second time around sweeter than the first time around?
Yeah, I'll say I've had this horse in my team in our possession from November, you know, and we did all the groundwork. And like Ixagamba was a horse that we claimed at Gulfstream, so you had to quarantine, and then you only arrived in Barbados 8 days before the actual race. So he was not in my possession for a very long time. Yes, we did have input on in him, all his preparation in the leading up to the race in quarantine. But this horse now we had in our total with our team. We made all the decision on him, and we brought him forward, and he won the Gold Cup. So it was a bit more same reward, but it's a bit more of a feeling, that there's no controversy of anyone can say, well, I prepared that horse. I think this horse was definitely prepared by my team and I.
Yeah, that was. I know. Now that you mentioned that, I remember that story. But is that a big thing for guys involved with the horses? Because we see horses all the time, and to be quite honest, like living here in Canada, people claim horses, go out and win with them, and it's their horses. It's no big deal. But is that a big thing? Someone else
Well,
prepared a horse, and
not
now you
not
the
to delve
trainer.
into not to delve into to go back there to negativity, but I think people are just trying to promote their own agenda, and I'm past that, and here am I winning the Gold Cup now, so it's up and on.
Okay. Well, that's a good point. But listen, man, a wonderful achievement. And I didn't know about this. I thought that you and Jalon Samuel had a really good connection there. I didn't realize that he hasn't written for you a lot, but he's come true for you at
Yeah,
the right
definitely,
moments.
definitely. Yeah, we're very good friends even off the racetrack. John, I've ridden a few horses to me, but he won three important races to me. I've never won a Boxing Day future. He won that, and he won two Gold Cups. So he have won the right ones.
Yeah, I can't wait to speak with him. If I can't just, I would love to just have another conversation with him because, like, he's such an interesting person because of all the stories that I hear surrounding him. Then he comes back and he wins. It is what makes champions. It's the stories, the build up. That's
Yeah.
just how legends are born, man.
Yes, and Jalon does his homework. Jalon doesn't win by chance. All the really good writers. You interact them. From prime time their apprentices and their kids. Like, see this jockey have the ability to rise to the top. Because talent, not only talent, but you see to do all the homework. I can tell you, Jalon have sat on public sector. If he worked 60 times, Jalon have sat on him at least 55 leading up to the race. You know, Jalon have made himself available and sat on him, and then the days that if those 5 times that Jalon, maybe 5 times Jalon didn't come out, we had Keon, which is a good lieutenant, Keon, he works with Catherine Day.
Can't wait.
Um, yes, Keon sit on him before, so we also had Kimar Chop was sitting on him in December, leading up to the Boxing Day race before Geelong was in Barbados. So it's a whole team effort, a lot of effort have gone into this horse, from all of my staff to the jockeys and the owner. The owners have stepped up, and we really put in a team effort. You know, all the horses came out. We had a really good Gold Cup day. We won three straight races, so that would have take away a little bit of the nerves. We won the fifth, sixth, and seventh. So we won two races before the Gold Cup, the two previous races. So that would have calm us down. And then we won the Gold Cup. Then we ran a very good race in the Spa Sprint. We were third in the Spa Sprint before our beat, so it was a good day.
Well, you're definitely making your name out there, and people we're gonna keep repeating your name, Remel Perkins Lovell, and
And you,
definitely
you
have
wouldn't
to.
you wouldn't believe who gave me that same Lyndon Yard give me that everyone knows me as Perkins before, so when the name Lovell starts showing up on the training sheet, the entry sheet, everyone want to know who's Lovell. So Lyndon always tells them Remel Perkins Lovell. So if you didn't know who's Lovell, then you know that Perkins is who's Lovell.
Hey, what a wonderful story, man. I'm really I'm glad you came on. I'm really I'm glad we spoke, and congratulations again to you and the entire team, man.
Thanks a lot, Derek. I represent the whole team. We have some young guys coming through, and we have some senior guys. And we work together as a team. Yeah, we have any ups and downs in any family, but we try to keep it all together and stay gel together. And work towards our goals.
Well, I really hope that after this Gold Cup, that the next one you can have a horse in that and have a really good chance too as well. And I hope that the next Gold Cup is as exciting as this one was because it really was a good race. It had me on the edge of my seat. So
It's,
let
I,
me tell you.
I said to the complete BTC team, I said that y'all outdid yourself for a few years. I don't know how you can top this. And both Mr. Spears and Kyle said to me, "Don't worry, we'll top it next year." So I said, "God willing, let's see." you
Wonderful,
know,
man. Wonderful. All right, man. Any last words before you go?
I just want to say thanks, to all the supporters, everyone who support me, everyone who give me a word. Don't matter how insignificant you think it is. Words of encouragement. Especially when the chips is down. And they encourage you. Tell you keep your head up, keep trying. The winner is going to come because sometimes you just go through a real bad spot. You don't show it because you have to keep rallying your team. Sometimes you're really down, and you walk down the racetrack and the fans just say, just keep going. The winners is gonna come. Don't panic. You put in the work. It's gonna come. Those words of encouragement means a lot. It means a lot. It definitely means a lot. Because when you get back to the barn, your head is up, but you can't be in the barn with your head down. So it definitely means a lot. So I just want to say to everyone, and thanks to all my owners and all my staff, that who have put in the work and put in the effort. The owners are giving these horses, all the jockeys, everyone who made this team a successful team. I just want to say thanks to you. And God is great. Let's keep striving.
I can't say any better than that, man. Keep the good work up, man. All right.
Thanks, Derek.
No worries.